on the radio all the time, but in small group sessions, et cetera, and then in one-on-one coaching sessions with me, I'd be happy to educate you and talk to you about credit so you understand really how credit works so that it doesn't create this stream of debt, but really a stream of, pluses out here when you have to maybe get a car financed. It'd be difficult to buy a car for $20,000 if you could finance it, like Dr. Rahman said, for 1.9%. It would take you, 15 years to buy a car. So credit definitely does have its place, and I'd be happy to assist you with that. And if any other students out there are listening in this room, want to specifically have workshops on credit, please let me know, and I will plan those immediately so that we can start having ongoing workshops about credit to answer all the questions and kind of let you know how to identify the credit traps and help you establish credit the right way. So thank you. I appreciate that. But yes, we can do that here.
Okay, then, my second question will be because I'm thinking of going into business, how is it possible as a sole proprietor, as an entrepreneur, maybe first of all build personal credit and to build up business credit?
Well, as a sole proprietors, so sole proprietors are owned by single entities, right? So it's just your name, your social security number as sole proprietorship. Whenever you're trying to build business credit, you have to actually have a firm established business. And that's usually when you get what's called an EIN number. And an EIN number is what's associated when you have like an LLC or S Corp or any other type of C corporation, et cetera. Those are all associated with that EIN number. You can establish business credit a number of different ways, but that's another conversation, and that's another, it's another credit beast to tackle, but it's something that I can also help you with. The initial would be the personal credit, and we can focus on that initially, and then we can dive into that as we get through that hurdle, and then we can move on to business credit. But there are a lot of ways to build personal credit as well as business credit. But it's very detailed, and it's not something that a 5-minute answer is going to tell you how to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Something else I'd like to add in as we're looking for the next person is, Catherine, if you could address really quickly about the payday loan situation, because I feel that is a trap that pulls a lot of people in, and I don't think they understand it's sometimes an immediate fix, but the long-term payment of it is way more than what they expect.
Maya, I'm so glad you asked that question. So payday loans, for a lot of people, payday loans have become like their bank. People just live above their means constantly. So they go get a payday loan, they pay all their money to get it, then they keep taking them out. And basically it becomes this cycle of never paying off this loan. Who can tell me what the average interest rate is, for example, on a payday loan? 20, 460, 20%, 469, 469%. Okay, 300%. Yeah. So let me share this tidbit of information for you. The average payday loan interest rate is probably about 404%. If you borrow $1,000 and in a week you pay back $1,100, that's a lot of interest in 7 days, right? Well, the problem is that, this is a big thing that's in legislation too, that there's a lot of advocacy against payday loans, the interest rates at least. There are very powerful forces behind payday loans. Banks back payday loans and, et cetera, but let's not fault the banks because banks do serve a purpose, right? It's for you to know that the interest rate is probably 400% or 300%, so you don't go down that trap in the first place. What I can tell you is this. Payday loans serve a purpose, and the reason why they're so popular is because people need short-term money. But did you know that if you had like a credit union or something like that, that credit unions and some other CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions, also offer you small money loans at much lower interest rates? So you can actually still get access, for example, to smaller amounts of money at places other than payday loan stores. Pay back your next payday is now 4 years. Silence around the room. Decisions.
Hello, how are you? My name is E. I actually got in contact with the 3 credit bureaus, and I actually paid off all my debt and everything like that. And I had 2 questions actually, and I wanted to know, like, after you pay things off, how long did it take to actually have a positive effect on your credit score?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question too. You guys I love these questions because they're so relevant to what's going to happen to your credit score. So if you pay something off that was already in good standing, it's going to have positive impact on your credit score, right? So your credit score will go up more than likely. If you pay something off that was already bad, for example, like a charge-off or a collection, and for those of you that aren't familiar with what those are, that basically means that you owed a debt, you didn't pay it, They had to come after you, and now they put you in this cycle where this person is calling you, or you're getting pink and yellow mail, and they're saying, hey, hey, hey. That's a collection, okay? If you pay a collection off, your score is not really impacted at all. To be perfectly honest, you pay off a collection, if you get A points, that's good, right? But the purpose in paying off a collection is that negative reporting stops. What happens when you don't pay off something that's already negative is that every single month, the reporting is bad, 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 bad. When you pay that bad report, absolutely immediately. Now, what I don't want you to get the impression of is that if you have a bunch of negative accounts, you pay them all off, and then you pay it the next month, you're not going to have an 800 credit score in a month. It takes time. That's why it's so important that the decisions that you make going into credit are good from the beginning. Because just like it took you 2 or 3 or 4 years to get to that, if